So, Mystery, can you share with us a little bit about what kind of results you've created in your life since you met Greg and started doing his work?
Yeah, I actually first did Greg's work in 2005, and at the time that I did Greg's work, I could not really walk in a pair of high heels. And out of many other teachings, combined with the work that I now have with what we'd call the Exoterra work, I was able to actually start walking in heels, dancing in heels, and I had broken my back when I was 18. Actually didn't think this would ever be a possibility with the flexibility in my spine, and the miraculous growth or revival of my spine, the fluids in it, the musculature around it, the erasing of my scar tissue, the ability to touch my feet or touch my hands flat on the floor when I'm wearing a 6-inch pair of heels is phenomenal to me. I was always flexible in my life, but to be able to do that and a back bend are things that were not a possibility for me in my life, really, until I participated in Greg's work, and I've continued to do it for 5 years.
I also know that as a result of this work, or maybe as a result of this work, you completed one relationship and then launched into what you shared with me before as a soulmate relationship that was really powerful. Can you share a little bit more about that? About your relationships and how that was affected by this work? Wow.
When I first did Greg's course in September 2005, I was married to a beautiful, amazing human being who I intended to be with for the rest of my life, and we were in a deep, beautiful, blissful love state, and never really would have imagined that we would separate. Yet in some areas in the relationship, we had some difficulties specifically in the sexual area, and that brought a separation inside of our relationship that then moved us into complete separation, but it totally was instigated from when we went into Greg's course that September 2005 and the intentions that we each had. And it was shocking to think this would end. However, it did graciously, and some drama, and then launched me into my next relationship, which was, I already was in a soul life relationship, and launched me into one that blew my mind beyond any comprehension I had. That was yeah, it was really, thank you angels, that was great. It was, yes it was. So it was kind of like one of the most magical, incredible relationships I could have ever fathomed or imagined, or not even, yeah, it was more than I ever could have dreamt. And yeah, did that answer the question?
Yeah, that was great. That was great. And I was wondering what you could share about Greg and how he leads the courses and who he is as a person, in particular, in supporting you through your process.
Wow. Well, Greg went out to dinner with my husband Danny and I at the time that we did Greg's course in September 2005. And as we were sitting at dinner, he said, "My guides have told me to work with you because you're planning to leave the planet, or basically you're attempting to, or basically I'm told to work with you if you want to stay here. And I was like, wow, I got it, but I really didn't get who this man could be for me. And I have to say that in more than one way, not that he saved my life, but his contribution to me as a human being helped me still be on this planet and save my life many times over in the last 5 years. And his depth of compassion, his ability to run the gamut of emotions, to give me reflections of mirrors that I couldn't even see in myself, to have me face my deepest fears, my most painful agonies, and come through all of that, clearing my emotional body, and him holding space all along that, being a lover, a friend, a master in his right, a teacher, a great correspondent, just a really humbly enlightened, magical human being. And I am very grateful to have participated in his work and to have this work in my life. Thanks.
Thank you. Could you share a little bit about what you've seen come out of this work for other people, like friends of yours or people that you're close to, that you could see how this has changed their lives?
Oh, absolutely. Wow. Can we pause for a second? Let's party, let's go.
You want me to start the question again?
Yes, please.
Okay. Are you rolling? Okay. So, could you share a little bit more about what you've seen happen with other people through this work, especially friends and close relationships, people that you care about, what it's done for them?
Yeah, wow. So the first person who participated in Emka's courses was my friend Danica, who I've known for 16 years, somewhere in there. And Danica and I had done lots of transformational work together. We met in landmark education courses in Florida. She ended up moving to Arizona, and while participating in a course that she swore she would never do, which is courses that I used to teach, the Kwadoshka spiritual sexuality courses, she met Greg Emka. She then chose to go to Austria to do this course that was a transformational course, and I had been doing transformational courses with Danica off and on for 10 years at the time that she went to do this course. And she called me from this course, she came home from this course, and it was the most transformed I had ever seen her in 10 years, of all the conglomeration of everything she had done, how much energy she moved, and who she was, and how she was being, and how she was acting, was off the charts, unpredictable for this woman. And I was like, there's something there. She went again about a year later, and that time it was like, okay. She was like, I'm bringing him to Phoenix and I want to do a course. And as she started to enroll for the course, she wasn't able to make the numbers happen, and she called me in and said, can you please handle this? It's like, I don't really want to do this course, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, her life completely shifted, altered, and changed. And then in this first course, I met several people who, one of them has lost so much weight and reshaped their body that it's unbelievably miraculous. Another one that I met in this course said, I'm going to go out and make $30,000 a month, turns around and boom, is like, does it. And you know, these are unpredictable people, but people are making drastic changes. Just in my relationship with my husband at the time, he went into a second relationship and then a third one that has been a beautiful relationship for 3 years now. And I went from Phoenix, Arizona to an unpredictable, unchartable life of going to Guam and living in the Hawaiian Islands for 5 years and seeing things and traveling places that I never imagined I would go. I always would dream I could go, but really lived a completely off-the-charts lifestyle. And I have so many miraculous stories of how people have changed and shifted. And I would say the most miraculous thing for me is to actually watch people who, when they start to have an intention at the beginning of the day and it's fulfilled within an hour or two, and it just materializing their life just from speaking it and holding the intention. And that is really miraculous. And seeing that in the body as the body shifts, just as speaking and the thinking changes, it's remarkable. Thank you.
Thank you. One last question I want to ask is that you've done a ton of transformational work. You mentioned that you were in Landmark for a number of years. You've done the Kudoshka. And so I want to ask you, how do you find this work to be, I guess, different or unique, or somehow adds to the other work that you've done? What is it that makes this work special?
Well, as I said, when I did Greg's course 5 years ago, it seemed like the conglomeration of everything I had done to that point. Landmark education for 10 years, where so many creations of intention, my languaging, who I be, what I intend every day, mastering that piece, but not really mastering it in a physical body sense of how to actually work with the body. And then I studied on a Taoist path, which really opened the body, but it didn't have the languaging. So I was having this crossover, and then I was in a shamanic medicine path for several years, where you would learn all the teachings of all the directions, and it's in the South is to give with the feelings, but you wouldn't see people in ceremony wreathing and crying and showing their anger. You know, it's all this, like, as you do ceremony, ceremony looks a certain way, and that's great, but there wasn't this clearing aspect to it. There wasn't this, like, really moving it out of the body. There was the voices of, like, yeah, you're moving it. So I saw a lot of stagnation in each area, and when I came to Greg's course, it just was like, oh, here it is. And it actually fulfilled each of those paths. And it was, I could go in any one of these directions for enlightenment. And the strangest thing that happened for me is that I actually stopped then, within 3-4 years, all paths, and really moved into such the truth to be able to follow my enlightened masters and my teachers, and along with the people that I surround myself with, how to go towards my enlightenment. It just really gelled a whole world of so many pieces that were missing in so many other places. And it also created a lot of self-confusion and needing to always, check in for what's true for me. And that was the biggest thing, I think, in this work, is what's true for me and not true for who I'm taking care of over here, or who I'm attempting to, really coming back to this truth, and how do I fulfill this truth of me in this lifetime, and I'm still working on that. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mystery. That was great.
Okay.
The very last question I have.
I thought that was the last one. Sorry.
Well, it's the last, yes, as such, but I just want to see if there's anything else you'd like to share to feel complete about sharing your experience of this work. Yeah, I would have to say that I always had a hope or a glimmer of an idea that life could be really unpredictable and that I could live in the unknown. But in my reality, I didn't really believe that that existed. And through this work, I actually got to experience, and I'm beginning to experience, an experience on this planet that I didn't know was possible. And it's really like getting to live a new life every day. And I'm really grateful. And I would invite you to participate in this work if anything I have said has sparked something for you, because it's worth it. Mahalo nui loa.